Hello, everyone. I'm WFXR Sports Director Jermaine Ferrell. Welcome to the WFXR Sports Sit Down on WFXRTV.com. Each Tuesday and Friday, I will have a special sit-down, one-on-one interview with a person in the world of sports. It is our commitment to bring you a special look at these people and share their stories with you on WFXRTV.com. Again, thank you so much for logging on to WFXRTV.com for the latest edition of the WFXR Sports Sit Down. Enjoy. WFXR Sports Sit Down on WFXRTV.com. And we're joined by a young lady. You heard her voice with the Salem Red Sox and also doing work with the Liberty Flames. And now she is with the Birds, the Baltimore Orioles, making history. You know, they talk about glass ceilings. She's not only shattered them, she is shattering some more. And it's an honor and privilege to have Melanie Newman, one of the play-by-play voices with the Baltimore Orioles. What is up, young lady?
Just, grinding through this series with the Marlins. Honestly, it's been a fun, unbelievable week.
I got to ask you, you've been obviously bombarded with so many media requests. So first of all, I want to say personally, thank you for giving us time, because I know your time is valuable and precious. So again, I want to start by saying thank you, because you're awesome and a blessing, first of all.
Well, you guys are still my roots, and after last year and just the unbelievable ride that it was, anytime that I get to see you guys and connect and catch up, it's always a good time.
Good deal. Take me back to Tuesday, because that had to be something. It's kind of like you get the call up, and then, you're calling a Major League Baseball game. Just take me through that day on Tuesday, because I'm sure it had to be pretty cool.
Honestly, it was a very calm day, as opposed to everything else that had gone on. I got really lucky, or unlucky, depending how you want to look at it. I had one spring training game with the Orioles before the season got shut down for a moment. And that particular spring training game, there was so much chaos going on. I hadn't really had a chance to learn the team yet. I didn't even have a voice that day. My allergies had done a full-on assault to my voice. So it was a lot of nerves trying to get through everything. And I got really lucky that my broadcast partner for this year, Jeff Arnold, was also in the Carolina League last year with the Frederick Keys. So we knew each other. We'd been on air with each other, and having that chemistry and somebody who knows me was a huge help. And then honestly, the 4 months off, it just gave me that time to be ready and to prepare and to learn the team, the history, everything around the Orioles a little better. So by the time I came into that game Tuesday, it was calm. We had called an exhibition game against the Nationals at Camden Yards already, and we were the only three in the stadium for that game because they were in DC, and of course no media is allowed to travel this year, so we called it off of a monitor. But all of those moments set it up to be just a very blissfully calm, serene game on Tuesday. And we even mentioned it too. I want the fans back. Do not get that wrong at all. But on the flip side, not having fans there also lent to not getting all up in my nerves about it, because it was just such a chill environment at that point. Just sit back and we're going to talk baseball with a friend for 9 innings. So I feel very lucky.
I got to ask you, when you look at it, you're the fourth woman to handle regular MLB games. You're kind of on the shoulders of like Jenny Kavner, and then Susie Waldman, and then Jessica Mendoza. So now you're, the fourth, and then obviously Gail Gardner, who was in there. But talk about that, because it seems like, since I've known you, and you're one of the more humble people. It's not like you're saying, oh, I'm a woman, I'm all that. But you have really handled this, because in a way, it's not that it's pressure. You're still doing something that anyone, if they have a passion for, can do. But you have really been breaking glass ceilings. Salem Red Sox, and then you go on to the Cure Bowl last year, and then now with the Orioles, but now with Major League Baseball, which is your passion. What's this been like? Because obviously, you're there with all these great women that have sort of paved the way.
I do feel really fortunate for that. Jenny has been an unbelievable mentor and friend. We connected a couple years ago when I was working in Texas, and she's been so kind. And I think that speaks to a lot of our industry, honestly, and the women that are in it, is we understand that there are not that many of us. So the least we can do is be a friend to each other and a sounding board. And actually, Emma Tiedemann, who's the voice of the Portland Sea Dogs, of course, where all the Salem Red Sox graduate to, she's been another good friend. And her and I talked about it the other day, and she said, I can't imagine the dues that women like Susan Waldman had to pay because she was by herself. There were no other women who understood what she was going through, or the fact that she was in such rare air at the time, being that voice of the New York Yankees. And now Susan is somebody I would honestly consider family. You know, we text each other almost every day. She's such an amazing spirit just to be around, and to witness her conviction, because when she says something good or bad, that's it. You know, there's no arguing it, because she's going to have her reasons for it. So that it's that fraternity of women that just makes this what it is, and makes me capable to keep going. And when there were days that, you know, I didn't even feel like I had that in me, and they reminded me, you know, we do this for each other. It's not just about ourselves at that point. It's for our family and for those who have poured in so much time and support for us. But they're all phenomenal. I mean, every single one of them, from the minors to the majors that are doing this, are just the best women.
Might sound like a silly question. How have you handled the media attention? Because not only you've gotten, obviously we've interviewed you, but you've gotten national attention. How have you handled? Because you mentioned you've been doing interviews since 7:30 this morning. So how have you handled this?
It felt very weird, because as you saw last year, being in the minor leagues, you know, not only do you wear 9 different hats, but you're kind of your own representation as well. Versus coming into the fall, I got very lucky that my affiliation with Liberty, working with Coach Hugh Freeze and his staff, they introduced me to my agent. So having Rick Diamond with me, and I got to the point last night of trying to prep for that doubleheader and seeing, just credit to Pete Kurzel too, who's our media staff here for Masson. He was the one who was setting all these up, making sure that the schedules didn't interfere. But once he sent me the list, and some of the people on that list who wanted to talk to me, you know, they wanted supplemental photos. They wanted me to sign certain waivers. Having the ability to then call Rick and say, hey, I can't do my job, and so I need you to handle all of this for me. You know, for lack of a better word, like the kids, I guess it felt bougie to be able to pass off some of my own work to somebody else and have them do it for me. But I feel really blessed too that I was finally in the position to know that now, that when I need help, having sacrificed so much of myself for so many years to support organizations, the help is there in turn for me. It's still a surreal situation. I was the shy, kind of invisible, quiet kid growing up. So to have people now who are talking about it all the time, and my sister, even, she called me last night and she said, you know, they just moved to North Carolina out of Atlanta. My neighbor is obsessed with you. And I said, do I know your neighbor? And she goes, no, but she saw you on TV. And so, you know, it's dealing with people who have known me my whole life, having people who we don't know at all coming up to them and saying something. It's just a very, it feels almost like an out of body experience.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because I wanted to do an interview with you, but you said, and you don't have a problem giving me an interview, and I appreciate that, but you said I had to go through the Orioles PR, which I respect. So it wasn't a big thing because, you know, normally, but hey, Melanie, give me some time. Yeah, sure. But, you know, obviously, and I can respect that because, again, I mean, you're bombarded. So there's nothing wrong with that. You mentioned something we talked before, the grind. Because you've been doing this for 10 years. I mean, the minor league parks, you know, the Friscos, and you were, you know, you're a graduate of Troy, and all the things you've done to get to this point, you kind of look back and say, wow, what a ride this has been. Because like you mentioned, I mean, it's been you have a show on the Orioles called The Grind, which kind of fits what you've done over the last few years.
And that's what I love about that show, is it embodied pretty much everything that I've always held personally. I get to talk about baseball and coffee. And then from that, you know, it's about the grind that everybody goes through to get here, and the fact that we're all human at the end of the day. And that was always my biggest goal in working in any sport that I've had so far, is bringing that human element into people's households, because I understand they can't relate to throwing, you know, 40-yard spiral for a touchdown. They can't relate to being able to bat 300 or have an ERA that's a sub-2 in the big leagues, but they get what it's like when you have to go home during a pandemic and suddenly, you know, you're your kid's own teacher and you're having to, you know, learn how to adjust and stay busy while you're stuck at home. So being able to give that to people was absolutely tremendous. But yeah, you look back at it, and I think right now, just with everything that's going on and the fact that this is my first year, so this is a pretty big learning curve for me in several different aspects. The moment of catching my breath and being able, for, you know, a lack of a better term, to stand on top of the mountain and turn around and be like, I did the hike. You know, we're good. That probably won't come until this season is done. But there are those moments during it that just says, wow, that this has been crazy. And I mean, February of last year, I didn't have a job. So if you told me, hey, a year from now, you're going to be in the big leagues, I would have said you're absolutely insane. But it just goes to show, you have to have faith in yourself, even when you're the only person that does. Because once you find what you're convicted about, and once you find your calling, that's up to you. Nobody else is going to give it to you. Nobody else is going to get you there. You really have to hold to your own.
It's funny that some of the stuff you've called in the past, not just the baseball and obviously the football stuff, but the axe throwing, cornhole, all those things, is that stuff that you can probably still continue to do, once the season is kind of wrapped up?
Yeah, so it's up in the air right now, just because a lot of those are events that require people to be very close to each other. They were events that we had discussed in January of the season, and now they're just kind of in a holding pattern, circling to land situation, just to see if that's even a reasonable opportunity to be done in a safe and secure environment. So it's definitely things that I've still entertained. I certainly have not shut the door on those because they're fun. It's awesome to get into a different environment and to challenge yourself, especially with sports that haven't been televised before. That adds a completely different layer to it. And the guys and the girls who compete in these are just so excited because, these are backyard games, they're hobbies for them. And suddenly they're getting national attention and they're so eager to share their stories. And I think they're the heart of why we all love sports at the end of the day. So if it does come about and it's a situation that requires me to participate in, it definitely will be something that I advance on. But for now, we're just going to sit back and be understanding that everybody's trying their best.
Now, looking at your overall role, you do stuff on air, obviously online, and then on the radio. So how does it set up where, okay, this day you're doing games on the radio, this game day you're doing stuff on the mass and TV side. So how is that decided? How does all that work out?
Yeah, so initially the 2020 season, before it got rearranged, I was supposed to have about an even split, 70 games in the booth with radio and about 70 on the sidelines for mass. And obviously with that changing and with some of our broadcasters considered to be a little more at risk, we've cut down on our staff for this year. They're not going away. They'll be back with us next year. But it shifted everybody. So I'm fortunate that my schedule was set before the season started, and it is a series by series basis instead of a day by day basis. It makes it a little easier to keep up with. So for example, the entire Marlins series that we have right now, I'm in radio. And this next series, when we go to DC, I'll be in radio again. And for the next one that's against the Phillies in Philadelphia next Tuesday, I'll switch over finally, and it'll be pre and post game hosting for Mid-Atlantic Sports Network. So it is a situation by situation, which does make it a little easier to focus on what is the work that needs to go into the series. What are the particular aspects that I want to focus on during this time? And luckily for me, I decided a long time ago that I loved weaving the stories I would normally tell as a sideline reporter into my play-by-play. So in the least, the basis of work between those two particular events are pretty much the same. The difference is when it switches over to sidelines, I drop off a little bit of the play-by-play preparation because at that point, my focus isn't on the balls and strikes during the game. That's Scott Garceau and Ben McDonald's job.
All right, a couple other quick questions. Again, I know your time is very valuable. Obviously, you, again, breaking these glass ceilings, and you've gotten the respect of your peers in the business. But what's it like? Because it seems like you have a lot of young ladies that, they see what you've done at the ripe young age of 29, which, it's a great thing. And I'm so proud of you because you're awesome and a blessing. But I got to ask you, what's it like? Because now you've almost in a mentoring role, because I'm sure there's some young ladies that see what you're doing. You get a lot of them that just reach out to you on social media and all that and say, hey, I see what you've done. What tips, what advice you can give me? Do you get that a lot from not only maybe even young ladies, but also gentlemen as well?
It is, you're right. It's across the board, gender regardless of who reaches out and is just looking for advice. And I do say it every now and then, and especially right now during this season. I'll tell people all the time, look, if you've reached out and you've direct messaged me on social media, especially because stuff can get buried so quickly, follow up. I am, and my friends know it too. I try, I really do. I'm what's considered a type 2. So being able to build emotional connections and let people know that they're valued is one of my highest values. So it does kill me a little bit that right now I've really struggled to keep up with everything that's been coming in over the last couple of weeks. But I never want somebody to feel like they're not heard or that they can't have a little bit of advice coming back to them. Usually what happens is the season ends or we'll have, an off day after 2 weeks, and I'll pull up, whether it's my text messages, my emails, or, the Instagram inbox, and just scroll all the way to the bottom and start working my way up. And, what haven't I read, or what did I accidentally open and mentally respond to while I was doing something else, but not actually respond? And just letting them know that they are heard, because there's a place for everybody at the end of the day is what I've learned through all of this. And you really can't compare your journey to anybody else. And it's tough not to do that. But having the voices who are above you, who got to the top themselves and turned around and lent a hand to those who are still climbing, those are the people who make a difference at the end of the day and provide more opportunities for others. And if I didn't contribute on that front, that'd be a big loss.
I just looked at my phone. You just responded to a text I sent to you about 3 weeks ago. No, I'm kidding.
That would be par for the course.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm Josh. Okay, we're gonna have some fun here. Ferrell's 5. And I've changed the name on this so many times, but it's Ferrell's 5. These are 5 questions that I gotta ask you, and these are fun. Okay, first one, what is your favorite color and why?
Favorite color is like a teal sky blue. It's just always been such an uplifting, bright color to me. It's been one of my favorites since I was a kid. And it fits in my color wheel according to my producer. So we keep it.
All right, you're at the ballpark. What is your favorite go-to ballpark food combination, food beverage combination when you're at the park?
So that's tough because in the Carolina League, I have to give my hats off to the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, and their concession stand was amazing. They do a fantastic grilled chicken sandwich. I got pimento cheese, lettuce, tomato on top of it, and kettle chips or sweet potato fries. So that was my Carolina League ballpark go-to every single time. Now, here it's tough because there are no concessions this year. All of the staff who are allowed to be at the park, we have to pack our own lunch every day. So I'm rocking a turkey and cheese sandwich. But under normal circumstances, I'm probably going with some Chesapeake fries. It's waffle fries that's topped with Old Bay seasoning and crab meat. They're also ranked as having the best crab cakes and crab sandwiches. I mean, it's Baltimore. It's what they do best. So that's honestly what I'm looking forward to the most.
I'll tell you one thing, my awesome wife, Yolanda, she loves crab legs. I mean, she loves herself some crab legs. Okay, question number 3. If you could, now speaking of food, hey, you're having a dinner party, you're making it happen in Baltimore. If you could invite 5, these could be past, present, baseball figures. These could be coaches, players, managers, broadcasters. Who would you invite to the special dinner that you are preparing?
In the baseball world.
Now, I normally I say sports, but since you're a baseball queen, the queen of diamonds, I think we keep it to baseball. So it could be anybody,
Right.
It could be past, present, live or dead, coaches, managers, players, broadcasters, anyone you want to invite, it's on you.
We're going to go Bo Jackson, David Ortiz, Vin Scully, Susan Waldman, and we're going to rope in Jim Palmer.
Wow. Jim, that is stout. I love the Vin Scully one. I mean, I would love to beat Vin Scully. I mean,
He's the best.
Is he awesome or what?
There will never, ever be anybody like him ever again.
Okay. All right. Favorite, I kind of know the answer, but I'm asking this in a twist. You've covered baseball, but is there a ballpark where you would like to call a game and why? Other than obviously Camden Yards and some of the other places, but is there a ballpark you would love to be there to call a game?
I love Camden. And I feel like I need to say that off the bat. I love Camden because I have gotten a lot of flack for this. And what I want fans to understand is it's not the fact that I'm still rooting for other teams, but it's the fact that I have appreciation for every team that gave me a chance prior to this. So that's the Diamondbacks, the Texas Rangers, the Red Sox, the whole nine. That does not mean that I am not fully bought in to Baltimore, because I am 300%. That being said, the two parks at the top of my list, obviously Fenway. It's historic. It's that landmark. Everybody dreams of getting to sign, behind the monster when they get there. And having my family from there, it's a really big opportunity. And the fact that they're AL East rivals, I mean, that's who Baltimore gets to expect to see a lot in the 2021 season. And then apart from that, I've been to PNC Park in Pittsburgh, and it's stunning. But the one that I haven't been to is out in San Francisco. And I'm really excited for the day that we get to travel there. And you just, you see the ocean open up behind the park and everything that comes with it. So that would be my number 2.
Wow, that is an awesome stat right there. And then my final one for you, your favorite moment with the Salem Red Sox.
That's the clinch. It's 110% the fact that the first half of the season, they were staring at the franchise worst record since the 50s. And somehow Corey Wimberly turned it around and they went on a streak. They forgot how to lose. And I had not slept. We had the extra inning game on Friday. I had the Liberty football game Saturday, and I was just anxious, checking my phone, hoping to God the one day that I missed for Salem would not be the day that they would clinch. And sure enough, coming back on a beautiful Sunday day game, the first day of September, and getting to call the fact that they were going to advance to the playoffs. Andrew Schwab, it was his 13th save of the year. Just lights out performance, and they popped bottles that day. And that was the first time I had been able to be a part of a team that allowed me to be a part of the team when they advanced like that. And I'll cherish that for the rest of my life.
Some of the great memories during your journey, and these are just from my perspective. I mean, the way you mentored Susie Cool, I thought that was just awesome. And then the Course of Cure Bowl, when you were there with Jamie Say, and then Danny Welniak and all those. I mean, you still stay in contact with them? Do they reach out to you to say, hey, congratulations on great what you're doing?
Yeah, Danny and Jamie and I have stayed very close with each other. And Danny and I in particular built a terrific bond. I think just that relation, she's done a lot of sideline work and stuff like that. So it was really fortunate that was the pairing, and what a unique situation to have had Liberty all season. And then it just so happened I had been scheduled for the Cure Bowl a month in advance. We didn't know Liberty would get to advance to it at the time, but the fact that it was a team I had been with all season against Georgia Southern, which is a team from my home state, another school that I was very, very familiar with. It was just a surreal situation. And they were two of the most amazing, uplifting women. We sat and had dinner and chatted a lot the night before the game. We got to hang out that morning prior and get coffee and just really get ourselves ready. But it just speaks again, even women outside of baseball, but women in sports in general, and how wonderful just this sisterhood is that we get to have.
That's good stuff. Now, obviously, you've accomplished a lot in your 10 years in the business. Is there something that you would love to accomplish? Is there something that you still want to do or want to accomplish in the industry? Because you've done a lot so far. Is there something out there that you say, hey, another goal that I want to reach?
As far as the job in itself goes, it feels very weird to say it, but this is it. Being able to have both play-by-play and a sideline capacity with the same team, to be there day in and day out for the grind, that has been what I've had my eyes on for so long that no one really gave credit would ever come to exist. No other team has somebody who rotates between play-by-play and sidelines like this. And I'm lucky that Baltimore chose me to really be able to occupy that role. So from there, it's focusing on the fact that they're in a rebuild, and fingers crossed, and looking forward to calling Orioles postseason games in a couple years. That's honestly the biggest goal at this point, is bringing a trophy back to Charm City.
My mom is a Orioles fan. So.
There we go.
But I'm a Yankees fan, so I guess I'm kind of public enemy number one right there.
Yeah, you are.
I want to tell you this. I'm so proud of you, Susie. Melanie, my bad. We were talking about Susie earlier, But I'm so proud of you, Melanie, because like I said, from day one, when I saw you came here, I saw your reel, and I told you, I said, you got a future, and it was so nice to see what you did for the Salem Red Sox and see your career continue to blossom. So, congratulations, and thank you so much for being on the WFXR Sports Sit Down on WFXRTV.com.
No, thank you for having me. Again, it's always nice to have a little piece of one of your homes.
And thank you so much for checking out this edition of the WFXR Sports Sit Down on WFXRTV.com. For all the latest news, weather, and sports, there's only one place to go. That's WFXRTV.com. Also, download the WFXR News app. More good stuff. We are here to hook you up with the good stuff on WFXR. Again, thank you so much for watching the latest edition of the WFXR Sports Sit Down on WFXRTV.com. I'm Jermaine Ferrell. Hope all of your teams are winners. Have a wonderful and blessed day, everybody.